The air was thick with pollution as Ieuan entered level -6. He had been noclipping through the backrooms, trying to find a way out, but instead, he had ended up in this nightmare of a level. The trees were twisted and withered, the grass was a sickly shade of tangerine, and the flowers were wilted and brown. As he walked, he could feel the radiation seeping into his skin. He knew that he needed to find a way out, but he also knew that he couldn't stay here for long. Ieuan had been wandering through level -6 for what felt like hours when he heard a rustling in the trees. He stopped in his tracks, his heart pounding in his chest. He listened carefully, but the rustling had stopped. He continued on, but the rustling started again, this time louder and closer. He turned around, but there was nothing there. He tried to shake the feeling of unease, but it lingered in the back of his mind. As Ieuan walked, he noticed that the trees seemed to be moving. It was as if they were alive, reaching out to him with the twisted branches. He tried to ignore it, but it was impossible to shake the feeling of being watched. He walked faster, trying to put some distance between himself and the trees. But no matter how fast he walked, they seemed to be getting closer. He could hear the rustling of their leaves, the creaking of their branches, and he could feel their presence all around him. Ieuan was starting to panic. He knew that he needed to find a way out, but the trees were closing in on him. He could feel their twisted branches brushing against his skin, and he could hear them whispering to him in a language he couldn't understand. He tried to run, but the trees seemed to be moving with him. He was trapped, surrounded by the twisted, withered trees of level -6. He closed his eyes and prayed for a miracle. Suddenly, the trees stopped moving. Ieuan opened his eyes, expecting to see them closing in on him, but they were still. He looked around, but there was no sign of the rustling or the whispering. He took a deep breath and started walking again, trying to put the ordeal behind him. But as he walked, he couldn't shake the feeling that he was being followed. He glanced over his shoulder, but there was nothing there. Ieuan had been walking for what felt like hours when he saw a faint glow in the distance, like a beacon of hope in the darkness of level -6. He quickened his pace, desperate to reach it. As he got closer, he could see that it was a doorway, a way out of level -6. He ran towards it, his heart pounding in his chest. He reached out and pushed the door open, stepping through into the unknown. Ieuan stumbled out of the backrooms, blinking in the bright sunlight. He looked around, disoriented and confused. He had no idea where he was, or how he had gotten there. But as he looked back at the doorway, he knew that he had escaped level -6. He had faced the twisted, withered trees and the whispers of the backrooms, and he had survived. He took a deep breath and walked away, knowing that he would never forget the horrors of level -6, but also knowing that he had escaped them.